gave my life to Jesus Christ when I was 16 years old. I didn't grow up in church. I didn't know really anything about God. I didn't know that if I would have died in my sin, I would have went to hell. And I just want to thank God that he saved me, that he looked down and he seen me when I was so dirty and so used, that he was willing to see me and still love me and still want me after giving myself away at a young age. I did pretty much whatever I wanted because my mom and dad pretty much didn't care what I did. So I didn't really have much rules. And, now I wish that I would have, because I would have had some kind of boundary, to know how far to go, what not to do. I pretty much did whatever. And you know what? I always wanted to be something. I wanted to be this person, but I never could be that. I was never good enough. I was never pretty enough. I was never liked enough. So I was always pushed to the side by myself, and I was so lonely and I was so torn apart. My heart was broken by different guys. My heart was broken most of all by my dad, not having an alcoholic dad and not knowing what it is to have a dad that loves you, a dad that tells you you're beautiful, and a dad that tells you, that you're worth more than going and giving yourself away and over and over and over and feeling so dirty and feeling so used and feeling so disgusted with yourself. And I would come home and I would think about suicide. And I would think about just killing myself and just getting out of here. Didn't know that I would have went to hell. I didn't think about hell. I just thought if you kill yourself, if you die, man, you just go to heaven. And you know what? I got saved when I was 16 in my room. I fell on my knees. I had went through a haunted house here at church in October. Then in January, they started following up on me. I had given my life to Jesus in my room. I fell on my knees after some things going on, and I cried out to God. And then a few days later, some girls from this church went and invited me out. From that day on, I came to this church. This is where God taught me how to be, how to love. He taught me how to be a friend. He taught me how to be for real, and not, he taught me how to act and how to dress. And this is where he taught me. I didn't learn that from home. And you know what? I realized that I hated my dad. I was bitter at him. And it wasn't until somebody who loved me enough to tell me that, you hate your dad. And I couldn't even tell him that I loved him. And after somebody prayed for me, my pastor and his wife, and I was set free from bitterness, from hating my dad. I didn't even know. I didn't even think I hated him. And I went and I'm able to kiss my dad on the cheek, and I'm able to tell my dad that I love him. And for that alone, I know that God exists, because I know that I would never, ever wanted to do anything with my dad. I didn't want to love my dad. But you know what? God gave me a love for him that I love him so much. So I just want to tell you that, you know what? God loves you so much. It doesn't matter if you feel used and so dirty. I know how that feels. And I also know that God can take all of that away, and he can clean you up, and you can be brand new. So let him do that.